everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today we have the newest release from Nomad Cosmetics. They just revealed the newest destination for their palette, and it is Greece. It is an absolutely beautiful collection that includes this wonderful palette. And you can see the cover has blue and white. You have the Parthenon, we have mythical animals, we have ships, we have the sea, we have some of the pottery, some of the beautiful architecture that can be found in the country. Here is our beautiful color story. You can see obviously the prominence of the blues and purples. We also have a couple green shimmers, a gold. We have a pink down here. There's a white, some grays, and dark colors of purples and blues. It's absolutely stunning. I love the play with the teal and the lighter green with some of these other shimmers that are here on this palette. And I love the names of the shades. They are basically a nod to Greek mythology and also some of the Greek gods. When you have Aphrodite here in the pink, and we have Olympus, Hades, we have Poseidon, Helios, and I just love the fact that they pull into some of the Greek history, Greek culture, with the names and even the imprints that are on this palette. We have here Ithaca, we have obviously some of the dome, which is also on the cover here. We have the ships, we have Poseidon, who's actually the imprint in the shimmer, Helios also imprinted here. And I love the fact Athena, they have a nice imprint of her in this. Same for Aphrodite. So I love how they are pointing to the Greek mythology and part of the Greek history into this palette with the shade names and also with the imprints. Also, as part of this collection, they have a gel type blush here. It is 3 tones. You have the blue, the pink, and the transparent aspect here. It's like a jelly consistency, and you can see how it's shiny, but when you mix them all together, the pink is the predominant color. We'll be using this a little bit later on when I do my face. Also in the collection is this beautiful same type of jelly consistency highlight, and it also is kind of a smooth way, and you can see the highlight there, and this is the same type of consistency that's in the blush. And let's see if we swatch this a little bit, and you can see on this the shifts of the pink. I see a little bit of purple and blue. Let me swatch that blush for you, and I'll put it right next to it there. And you can see you have the slight tint of pink on there. So I think it'd be something you could wear by itself or on a no makeup day, but you can see it on my hand. It shows up, it's very pigmented, even though it feels very jelly-like and you feel like it won't be so much. I feel you can really build this up. I'll add a couple more swipes here, and you can really see how it becomes more pigmented when I add more on top. So you can do a light wash if you want to, but it also can be built up, and it shows up very well on my skin tone. It is kind of a jelly type consistency, as well as the highlighter, but as you can see, both are very beautiful, very reflective, and will show up well. So we'll use those a little bit later on after I finish the eye look. So there's a card that comes with every collection. So let me read this one to you. The new Nomad Greek Odyssey Collection. The destination in the footsteps of Odysseus. Embark on an epic journey to the alluring islands, ancient legends, and cerulean waters of the Greek islands. Here, echoes of the Odyssey still linger as gods whisper in the wind, monsters slumber beneath waves, and myths live on in every isle. Steeped in romance and charm, the jewels of the Aryans are immortalized in literature and etched into the hearts of all who wander its storied shores. The Greek Odyssey Collection includes an intense color and chrome palette, a collection of 18 Hellenic Hughes featuring 3 mesmerizing multichromes, 6 enchanting shimmers, and 9 goddess-worthy mattes. Color Adapting Blush Balm. It's a gel blush that melts into the skin to reveal a soft pink hue and natural finish. The Illuminating Highlighter Balm is a lightweight gel with dual chrome pink pearls for a lasting ethereal glow. Limited edition scarf with our Greek Odyssey design. The satin scarf is perfect accessory for your journey. Because we are so proud to support IC and help preserve and restore the Mediterranean Sea. I didn't have the scarf in my package, but I have all the other items, which I've already showed you. So in celebration of this wonderful collection, I think I'm going to start with, it shouldn't be too surprising, looking at my top, a blue and white look. I think I'm going to use the shades, Elisa, I hope that I'm saying that correctly. I'm gonna use that in the crease. Odyssey, a little bit of this beautiful blue shade. And then I think in the outer V Matte, I'm gonna use that one. And for my multi-chromes and shimmers, I think I'm going to use some of the Sirens, which is beautiful purple multi-chrome. That's so pretty. And then some of Pegasus, this nice white. I think I'm going to put that on the inner corner. And I may do a little of Poseidon as well, this beautiful blue. So I think that's where we're going to go today. So we'll see how it all shakes out as we start creating. When I saw this palette, I was so excited because last year I went to Greece. I actually went with Angelica Nyquist here on YouTube. She took a group of makeup enthusiasts who also love to travel over there on a trip. And it was a lot of fun. I had always wanted to go to Greece. My goal was to go to the Parthenon one day. So when she advertised this trip last year, I just knew I just had to go. So I talked to my best friend and she also wanted to go. So we were all signed on. Because we had already been on previous trips with Angelica, there were also other people on the trip we already knew. So that made it even more exciting because we got to hang out with old friends again. But truly did enjoy going to Greece. It was beautiful. We started the first day in Athens, and then the next day we went to the Parthenon, and I'll insert some video here of us going to Acropolis and seeing the Parthenon.
And after we saw the Propylaea, you can see 2 more temples that were restored. Actually, we still working this 50 years already, but these works will never finish, I think, because we have so many rocks around and it's so
From Italy.
to collect all these pieces together, and they need additional material to use. Anyway, now this is our famous Parthenon, and over there it is the temple here dedicated to Athena, of course, the main goddess here, and it took 10 years to build this temple. It took 5 more years for the sculpted decoration of the temple.
So I really, really enjoyed it. It was beautiful. It was very hot, I will say that. But it was wonderful for someone who really loves history. That was my favorite subject in school, to be able to go somewhere that has been up for centuries, right? Where so many people, millions of folks over the decades and years have gone and walked, to walk where these historic places and people, it was really beautiful. And I really, truly enjoyed it. So there's a little kick up in the pan. So we'll tap off our brush a little bit and we'll go into that first shade here and just put it in the crease. And you can see it's very pigmented. It's going on really well here. And Greece was absolutely beautiful. I mean, the clear blue waters were obviously spectacular. The people were very kind. And I love the food and the culture, the music. It really was such a wonderful trip. I had such a great time. And getting to spend time with people who also love to travel and, of course, love makeup. It was always a fun thing. Angelica also suggested we read some books before we went over. And so that made it more exciting too, the fact that we read some Greek mythology type stories before going over. I think they added more excitement to the trip. And I enjoyed that as well. Getting to go to a Greek restaurant and participate in some culture activities was nice. Definitely enjoyed the shopping and driving by some of the historic places that were there, going to where the first Olympics was held. For example, seeing all of these ancient buildings and structures amongst a current time was obviously a beautiful thing as well, how the city melds the history that's there. And by the way, I used the Singe Beauty EO3 to put on that first shade. And for our second one, we will use this Glaminatrix EO1 brush. And I'm going now into that lighter blue shade, the Odyssey. And putting that just above there. So yeah, just seeing how they still have a lot of the modern conveniences, however, still preserving the history, and it becomes part of their everyday lives and also just part of the structure of the city. It was wonderful. I truly enjoyed it, and I enjoyed spending time with friends, enjoyed the music, enjoyed the culture. So just putting this lighter shade here right over. We also went to the museum for the Parthenon, and it was nice because they had moved some parts of it because of wars and things like that. Some parts of it, as you can imagine, have been destroyed. So some of the parts of the building and statues that had been destroyed, unfortunately, during conflicts, some parts of it were available in the museum, which was right next door. So we went to that as well. So it was nice to see, again, statues that had been saved and preserved. And some of them were a little bit different in that they were replicas. And apparently some of the originals were over in, I think in Britain is where they said it was, Britain or France. In some of their museums on loan, as they would say it. But it was still wonderful to see a lot of the original pieces that were still located there. Going back into that Singe EO3, just to kind of bring back that color. I want to make sure I don't lose it when I add that lighter color on top. And one of the things I really enjoyed about the trip was that, you know, we went on nice excursions and outings. We had a nice tour guide who took us around, took us to make sure we eat. The only thing I would say was that in Greece, people tend to eat very late. And I am not usually a late person. So like our dinners were starting, seemed like around 7:30, 8:30 at night. And we wouldn't get back to like 10 or 11:30. And then it was like, all right, get up early in the morning. We got to go somewhere else. So wasn't a whole lot of sleep on that trip, but it was definitely very beautiful. And I really, truly enjoyed the time there, the food there, the culture there. And again, me being such a history buff, getting to go to these historical sites was wonderful, and I truly enjoyed it. All right. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a, let's see, let's do an EO5. And I think I'm going to go into that Pegasus, that white shade, and kind of line this up here at the top. Do something a little bit different here. Oh, so there's a little bit of fallout. I should have shaken my brush out before I did it, but just adding a little bit under the brow so I can kind of highlight this area. All right, like how that's looking. And same thing over here. We also spent a day at the beach, and that was nice. So we got to walk in the black sands, which were very hot. Let me let you know, they were very hot. My best friend and I basically went on the beach long enough to have pictures taken in the black sand. And then after that, it was like, all right, and we're done here. So we sat on the side of the beach and just enjoyed the water, you know, and enjoyed the calm and the peace. It was really just very tranquil. That was on one of our free days, and it really was nice. And truly did enjoy the whole atmosphere and the company, and it was wonderful. Really pretty. Besides Angelica Neatquist, Heather Austin, who's also here on YouTube, I got to meet her and really enjoyed her. She's such a sweet person. And it was so nice to be able to meet someone that you know, obviously had seen through YouTube, but since she also has a background in medicine, it was nice to have someone who understood kind of your job and what you did and could relate on that level. So it was really nice. I really enjoyed meeting and spending time with her, and of course all the other people who came on the trip. We had a really good group, really. And again, since some of the people we had already seen before, it was even fun to reconnect with people. All right, so I think what we're gonna do is put matte on the outer V, and I'm gonna use our friend an EO6 for that. And again, this is this dark purpley blue shade, and I'm gonna put this just here. On the outer V there. Oh yeah. Yep. Loving how that's looking. And I love how it has this kind of purpley blue look to it. Look at that. Same thing over here. Trying to buff this in to the outer V. That's pretty. Okay. Good. I think I like how that's going for now. All right. And then now what I'm actually going to do is I think I'm going to cut the crease a little bit. And I'm going to use this locked in base from Day Day Signature. Just a little, because I want to add a little bit of the white on the inner corner here. All right. So put a little bit locked in base, and then I'm just gonna carve a little bit here. this side. And now we're gonna just bring back a little bit of that matte shade. Kind of fade into that. Same thing over here. I just don't want it to be so harsh. The transition between the locked in base and the matte. All right, there we go. And now I'm gonna get a little bit of our shine on because we're gonna lay down a shimmer. And I'm just gonna put a little bit right here, leaving the inner corner open. So this is Shine On by Cleona and Bad to the Brow. I'm gonna do a little bit of that Siren shade. So I'm gonna use my finger just to put a little bit of it right out here, kind of where the matte shade meets to where I put that base. Just like that. Nice. And then I think I'm gonna put a little bit of Poseidon just inside of there. Just a little bit. Look at that. That is so pretty. Just a little bit inside of there. Okay. And same thing on the other side. Just a little bit of the sirens. Just tapping that on. It's so pretty. Okay. And then Poseidon right next to it. Leaving the inner corner blank for a second. Because like I said, I think we're gonna put that white matte there. Very nice. So we'll take that Singe EO7 brush. Sure that the two meld together. So a little bit of that Poseidon shade. Just a little. Okay, good. And on the other side of the brush, a little bit of the sirens. Okay, and then go back in with that EO7 that had some of the matte shade on there, just to make sure it melds together. Okay, like that. Now, we're going to use that same EO5 brush that I used to put on the Pegasus, that white shade, and we're going to put it right here on the inner corner. I just love a good white. Look at that. And you see it's building up well on that locked in base that I put down. See, having no problems getting that to build up. And now just going back to meld it with that Poseidon shade. There we go. And on the other side, same thing. Putting the Pegasus in the inner corner. And I'm melding into that Poseidon shade again. No additional product this time, just trying to make sure we meld the two together. A little fall out there. Wipe it away. Cool. All right, for the lower lash line, I think I'm going to start with a little bit of that Odyssey shade, that lighter blue, and just put that right here. And I'm using a Singe Beauty E11 brush for this. And I'm just putting this on the inner part of the lower lash line. Same brush, cleaning it off, getting some of that Illuminating shade, which is really this beautiful sea blue looking. Kind of fading into that first color. And then Matty to connect to the upper lid, just like so. Okay, so I'm going to clean this up, put on some liner and lashes, and I'm back to show you the final look. All right, I'm back with the finished look. To finish up on my waterline, I used 2 of the ColourPop gel liners. I used Prance on the inner part, and then I used a little bit of this metallic Crystal Crush. I just thought that would kind of go really well with the eye look. Add a little bit of pizzazz to it. I have the Glamnetic lashes on. So now we'll go ahead and finish up with the blush. So I'm going to use this cream blush. I'm swirling my brush all around it there, and then you're going to see I'm going to just stipple it on. Look at that. Oh, that's pretty. And I love that it is this gel blush, and you can build it up. It's not lifting my foundation, which is nice. Look at that. I'll just put that over here, mixing all 3 of the shades together, like I said, to get this really beautiful pink color. Oh, that's pretty. Oh, I like that. That's pretty. It shows up really well. It's really pretty. So that's this gel blush here. Really pretty. All right, so now we'll put on the highlighter. So again, this is really this beautiful pink highlighter. So let me get this BK Beauty 112 brush. Stipple a little bit in there. Just pick a little bit on my brush. And then let's just put a little bit on the upper part of my cheek here. That's pretty. You can see it a little bit. Yeah, so you can definitely see it there. You can definitely see it right there. I'm just putting it a little bit on the upper part. Cheek here. It's pretty. So it's a subtle highlight on my skin tone, but I do like the fact that it has the pink flakes to it. So, oh, very pretty. Here's the Greek Odyssey Illuminating Highlighter Balm. All right. So here's the palette right here. Really pretty palette. Mattes went on beautifully, blended well. Love the shimmers. I really do love this look. I think this is really, really, really pretty. So really excited to have this palette, excited to create more looks with it. I think it's beautiful. I love how it pulled on the Greek mythology. I also think this is just absolutely stunning. The colors. I took some swatches of the palette and I'll insert them here so you can take a look and how they showed up on my skin tone. And now I'll be back with look number 2. So I'm back with the second look using the Greek Odyssey Collection from Nomad Cosmetics. Today, I think I'm going to do more of the teal, green, gold kind of look. So I'm going to get into these 2 mattes over here. That's going to be Peloponnese and Ithaca. So Ithaca is this lighter green shade up here, and Peloponnese is this teal shade down here. Maybe smoke it out a little bit with Olympus over here in the outer V. And for my shimmers, I think I'm gonna go into Gala, which is this beautiful, beautiful green multi-chrome color. Look at that. Ooh, I see pink and green flecks throughout it. And then I think I'm also going to use some of Helo's. I think that'll be a pretty combination. That gold with that, I think that'll be pretty. And maybe a little bit of Elion here, this really pretty green. Yeah, I think that'll be pretty. So I think that's what we're gonna do. So a little bit of Gaia. Yeah, I think it's Gaia. Gaia, Helios, and Elion for our shimmers. Okay. So last time I was talking about my trip to Greece, which I truly did enjoy. We also, after leaving Athens, we went to Santorini. And I don't know, Santorini, you know, it's what is basically what's on the card. What is on the card, these blue domes are what they're very famous for. And I was able to take some pictures there. I was able to do a flying dress shoot. I'll insert some pictures here so you can take a look at them. It was a wonderful experience. We got that coordinated actually through the hotel. They were wonderful in helping us because we thought because we didn't have an appointment early, you know, before coming to the island that we may not get to do it. But a concierge at the hotel where we were staying in Santorini was really helpful. He said, "Oh yeah, I have a friend who does it. No problem. We can get you taken care of." And so it was great. So we had one free day in Santorini. So they told us obviously to get like the best views and of the and best angles and lighting for the shoot, that we'd have to get up very early. So they came and picked us up. I think it was like at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, which again, remember I told you the dinners were late. So we didn't get back till like 11 o'clock that night. So I had to get up, you had to get your hair done, your makeup, you did all that yourself, and they provided the dresses. So you got to decide what dress color you wanted. So I'm going to go into this teal shade, peel the pawnees first and just put that in the crease. So my best friend and I, when I mentioned it to her, she was like, yeah, cool, we can do that. And so she picked a gold dress and I picked a red dress. And for the shoot, I actually used a Singe Beauty palette that I had brought with me, which, you know, since that's Angelica Nyquist brand, I thought that was always a good thing to pick. And so anyway, so we did our makeup and our hair, and then we got dressed. Then I'll tell you this. So the dresses they provide for the shoot, it's basically a one-size-fit-all. So they told them what colors, so they brought it with them. Look how pretty that teal is. Oh, that's so pretty. Very pigmented, very smooth, easy to go on. I'm liking this. So anyway, so they brought the dresses to the shoot, and you're like, okay, where are we going to change? Well, they pulled out a little tent that they put behind the car. And it was a male who was the photographer, and his assistant was a female. And so basically they gave you this little tent, you know, for one person. And they folded it out of the car and set it up. And then you changed right there in the parking lot. But, you know, she stood guard and handed you, you know, your clothes and the dress and made sure everything was in. But because of the way the dress was made, you basically just have on your underwear and the dress. That's pretty much what you got. So that was a different experience. I've never done that before, and I'm not a little girl, so that was interesting. But that being said, the dress was beautiful. I love how, because of the type of material and dress it is, they can really configure it to you and what looked best on you. So my best friend, her design or how the dress was put on her was different than it was put on me. And of course there were different colors, but still you could have us take pictures together and it looks like we're wearing obviously two different dresses, even though it's the same dress styled differently in two different colors. But it was very hot, let me just say. And we had to walk part of the way. And then we, of course, kept our shoes on. And then when we got to different locations, we would take off our shoes and they would tell us how to pose, what position to put our arms in, our head, the angle. And so since they do it all the time, they also would, tell you which way to look and that sort of thing. And so the flying dress part, so that part was very interesting. I'm going into Ithaca now, that lighter shade. Gonna tap that off and just going above that first shade there. And so that part was really interesting. So basically the assistant, so the guy's taking the photos and the assistant is basically taking the dress and she flings it into the air. And because of the material and how fast the camera lens, I guess the lens or the shutter, or how fast the pictures, he can take the pictures. When you look at the pictures, it looks like the dress is flying. But it's basically just her taking the dress and throwing it up in the air and then the dress coming down. And they did it multiple times in different lighting. For the first, my best friend went first. So when she finished, going back into that Peelonese a little bit, just to kind of meld the two together, not taking any additional product. So my best friend went first, so I got to see her first photo, and it was beautiful. I mean, it was amazing. It's just amazing what cameras can do nowadays. But just how it looked like the dress was actually floating in air. So we went to all the different positions. They did bring us some water, so that was nice. But we took, oh my gosh, I think it was at least 20, 30, maybe 40 shots. I mean, it was a long time. And you had to go out early because of obviously how bright and how hot it got with the sun. And then also because these are just out in this area where you can get to the Blue Domes. There are people who stay there. They're staying in hotels there, people walking through. So you go early in the morning, people are still asleep. So you don't have to worry about people getting into your camera shot. In fact, the only other people who were out there when we first got there was another flying dress shoot. And so that was cool. Now, as time kind of went on and we went to different places around there, more people did start to come out, but you could tell obviously they were used to it, so they were very, not getting in the way or waiting for you to finish a shot before they'd walk through, which was really nice. There you go. So that was really nice of them. And so it was a wonderful experience, and they took us by, and we were driving by a town, and they said, okay, y'all can come back later to the town. And I told them I'm a coffee person. I'm a coffee connoisseur. I have 3 coffee pots. I love ground coffee, French press. I'm the she frou coffee person in your life, if you have one. So I asked them, okay, where's the best place to get coffee? So they showed us a little shop when we were on our way to the shoot, and said, hey, when y'all can come back later on today or whenever you get a chance and try this coffee. I was like, okay. And they also had some shops around, which was really nice. So after we finished the shoot, they also told us a couple restaurants that would be nearby that we could, where we could eat. And that was really sweet. So when we got back, they brought us back to the hotel. They were so nice. Asked us about where we were from and we're in the United States and what brought us here and the group. And they were really pleasant. And it was professional, well done. They told us we'd have our pictures in about 48, 72 hours. And so what they do is they send you the prints and you can download them and look at them. Now, of course, you're paying up front, and you have to be careful just like everything else. But since the concierge was the one who set us up with the group, and they were wonderful, like I said, we felt comfortable, even though you pay them and you leave and you're hoping you're going to get your pictures. They did show up in about 48 hours. And what they do is they send you the proofs. So they send you a proof of, I think it was like 140 some shots that they sent. And you got to pick, I think the package we picked, it was 20 of them, 30 of them. I think it was 20 of the shots. So you would just go through, look in your computer, and they said that they recommended you waiting until you got home to look on your computer versus your phone, just so you can get the full effect of the images. Oh, that's pretty how that teal is going. I like that. All right, and then now we're going to go into using a EO6. I'm going to clean it off. So just using an EO6. We're going to go into that Olympus shade, kind of that dark gray. And just smoking out the outer V here with that. Oh, that's pretty. But it was such a wonderful experience. And the funny thing is, I had seen these pictures, like on Facebook or Instagram of people doing the flying dress shoots. And I forgot Santorini was one of the places that did it until a friend of mine, when I told him I was going to Greece, he said, oh, and he said, where? And I said, oh, Anthis, Santorini. And he said, oh, so you can do the flying dress shoot. And I'm like, I didn't even think about it. So I was really glad we were able to get that done. Another, sister pair on the trip also did it. Their pictures, I saw their proofs before we left too, and they were really pretty too. They used a different group than we did, but theirs came out beautiful as well. But I truly loved mine. I like mine so much, I actually got them, 2 of them blown up a little bit, and I put them in the wall of my beauty room. But it really was a wonderful experience. And I'll take this time to give a shout out to my best friend. She is awesome. We have been friends since we were in school. And we have traveled, done many cruises and trips around the world together. And, when I come up with an idea or she comes up with an idea and it's like, hey, you want to try this? She's like, that sounds cool. That's reasonable. Let's go. Let's do it. And it's really glad when you can have someone you travel with who thinks like you and likes the kind of stuff you do. So, shout out to her, to say thanks for being a wonderful travel friend. So, So yeah, but a great experience. Highly would recommend it if you ever go to Santorini, or I know they do it also in Bali. I think there's also, there's a couple other places I know that do it. So if you're ever somewhere and you get the opportunity, obviously make sure the people you're working with are reputable, not take your money and not give you pictures, but definitely consider checking that out because it really was a wonderful experience and I highly recommend it. So just darkening that up a little bit. I'm really enjoying how that's turned out. I'm just trying to make sure everybody is even. I'm going back in here with that brush that had that Hellenic shade on it. No additional product. I'm just trying to make sure that the edges don't look too harsh. But I'm loving the teal. That is so pretty. Okay, so now time for the shimmers. So we're going to get our handy dandy shine on from Cleona and Bad to the Brow. And we're just going to tap that on over the lid. I'm going to do the entire lid here. I'm going to start with that green shade, Elion, that's how you say it. And then Helos, and then Gaia. So I'll start with the Alien and put that on the outer here. Just tapping it on. Oh, it's really pretty. And then Helos, that gold shade, I'm putting that right here in the center. A little bit more. Yeah, so I want to make sure that looks really foiled. And they kind of meld into each other, which I really like. And then Gaia here on the inner. Corner, kind of meshing into Helos. And then I'm gonna grab this EO7 brush. Not putting on any additional product and just trying to meld all the colors together. Now I am going to dip a little bit and get a little bit more of Helos here. And a little bit more Alien on the outer part of the lid here. And then going back in a little bit of Olympus to kind of get that to not have a harsh border. Look at that. Oh, that's so pretty. Oh, I really like that. And let's clean this up just a smidge. Make sure that's not too sharp. Nice. All right, now on the other side, same three. A little bit more back of Helos there. And green there. Okay, I'm going to clean it up. Just kind of tidy up where the shimmers and the matte meat there. And we'll put a little bit more back, put of that Helio shade back. That dark green shimmer back. And then, of course, on the inner part, Gaia, excuse me. I think it's Gaia. Again, some Olympus. No additional product on the brush, but using the same EO6 that I was using before to put it on. And these are all Singe Beauty brushes I'm using right now. Wonderful brushes. Highly recommend them. I have about 3 sets of the eye brushes and 2 sets of the face brushes. So if you want some good synthetic brushes, these are definitely ones to think about. All right. Excellent. I like how that's looking. All right, so for the lower lash line, I'm gonna grab this E11 and we're going to use a little bit of the Ithaca shade on the inner corner and wrap it around. So inner corner here and wrap it to the lower lash line. And since I really like that to be lighter, I'm actually going to grab some of Pegasus, that white, and plop it right on top. Yes, that's it. Pop it right on top. Right on top. Pretty. Okay, and then we're going to use that teal shade, that Peel and Ease. And just wrap it here on the rest of the lower lash line here. And then Olympus to kind of connect the upper and lower lash lines. So let me put on some liner and lashes, clean this up, and I'll come back for the final look. All right, so this is my finished second look with the Greek Odyssey palette and collection. I hope you really enjoyed the video. I really am enjoying this palette. I love the color story. Obviously, I love the theming because it brings me back to a great time and a great trip I had in Greece. The mattes went on beautifully. They're very pigmented but easy to blend. The shimmers are beautiful. I love the multi-chromes in here. I love the standard shimmers as well. This palette is not magnetized. I know the cruise collection was, and they mentioned that some of their collections wouldn't be. So if you know that's something that interests you, just to let you know, it's not magnetized. The two other aspects of this collection that I have, the cream blush and the cream highlighting balm, or I should say the color adapting blush balm and the illuminating highlighter balm, both very nice. I used them in my first look. You can see how easily they go on, but buildable. I love the pink color of the balm, and then the highlighter as well gave a nice sparkly pink hue to my cheek. So enjoyed both of them. It is different, I believe, for the brand. I don't recall them having balms as far as highlighters or blushes in the past, but I'm really enjoying that, and I'm looking forward to playing with that more. So if this interests you at all, please consider using code Kimberly. It'll save you 10% on the Nomad website, and this will be available on April 27th. So let me know if you pick it up. Let me know which look was your favorite in the comments, and hope this finds you well. Thank you all for coming. So remember, live your best life. This is not a dress rehearsal. You are on stage. So make it the best performance ever. Bye, guys.